This show is sponsored by ALPS Mountaineering, offering you the right gear at the right price.
PTC Media, bringing quality scouting podcasts to packs, troops, and crews. Find us on the web at ptcmedia.net.
My brother Scouts, I want to remind you in a very few words of what your duty is as Scouts. Apart from merely living in camp, cooking your own grub, and playing Scout games.
Greetings, Scouts and Scouters, and welcome to Scout Nation, the podcast, episode 6.3. It's time for the meeting after the meeting, you know, where the Scouters stay and talk in the parking lot and share their scouting experience until way, way, way late. I am Scoutmaster Bryan.
And I am Scoutmaster Shawn. And tonight's show, 6.3, is kind of a weird number. We know why it's 6.3. But I think this is going to be a good one. I really do, because tonight's topic is Woodbadge. Before we start hitting the Woodbadge really hard, let's go over some troop news. Since we recorded last, there's been a lot of stuff that's happened. And I don't think... I know we can't cover it all in one show. So I think let's just hit some of the high points and talk about what's happening in our little neck of Scout Nation. Bryan, why don't you go ahead and start us off?
All right, well, let's see. Since last we recorded, we've had tons and tons of stuff, gone camping, service projects, the whole 9 yards. But I want to highlight on a couple of things. We had our elections back in August. We had our elections. We had 4 fantastic SPL candidates and had to have 3 runoffs. The rule for the troop by the PLC is that the SPL needs to get 50% of the vote. So we had 4 candidates, and then it went down to 3, and then it went down to 2, and then there was a tie, and then they had to vote again to break the tie. I mean, it was an actual tie right down the middle. Then they voted again to break the tie, and they picked a really good SPL.
And everybody gets to vote, right?
All Scouts get to vote. If you're there, you vote.
I say that because knowing how many Scouts you have, I just can't believe that it was a tie right down the middle. That's phenomenal.
That blew us away that last time. It really did. But the guys get to know the process, and they vote for the candidate that really speaks to them, and the candidates get to address the troops. And I talk to the candidates and I say, you know what, everybody gets up there and they say, ooh, we're going to have fun, and ooh, shorter meetings, and ooh, when I'm SPL, we're going to have great campouts and do all the fun things you want to do. And I'm like, well, you know what, the SPLs before you have done that. We've been doing that for years. We have fun campouts. We're scout led. We run good, smooth meetings, and sometimes they're long and sometimes they're short, but that all depends on the troop. I go, so instead of going up there and saying, I'm going to give us cookies on every campout, why don't you guys go up there and give them a real reason to vote for you? Then they do, and they go up there and they say, this is what I want to do as senior patrol leader of this troop, and this is where I want to take the troop. And it was great. It was a really good experience. The SPL then sits down right away with me, and I give him all the sheets that I've collected over the past couple of weeks, and I think we've talked about that. We do our election sheets, and we could talk about that at a later date, but it basically, in a nutshell, it's the Scouts who want a position of responsibility, write down their top 3 choices and why they want to be it. And in that way, I take it all and I put it in a spreadsheet for the SPL so that he can look and see who needs a position of responsibility, who wants a position of responsibility, and why they want to be scribe, chaplain's aide, troop guide, librarian, historian, webmaster, whatever, ASPL, instructor, and then he picks a PLC. And then the patrols come back with their new patrol leaders after they do their individual elections, and boom, we're good to go. I swear the senior patrol leader in, and then the senior patrol leader swears in the new patrol leaders, introduces his PLC, and off they go. We'll do a troop leader training, which I know is going to be a future topic on our show, so I won't even talk about that at this juncture. But we go out and we train, and then they have 6 months to make their mark. And so far, so good. We're 2 months in, and I am just so impressed about this senior patrol leader and his PLC. And they're doing absolutely phenomenal. One of the things that they've done was really focused on service, and my second big thing is our biggest service project we've done to date, and it's called the Good Turn for Goodwill. We were, or are, a pilot program. Goodwill came to us and have wanted to do something with the Boy Scouts, and they came up with a program. They designed a patch. They went all out, and they said, we need a troop to test run this for us. So we did. And for 2 weeks, every scout, I gave them a list of the Goodwill got a list of all of our scouts, just their name and their patrol. And over a 2-week period, each scout to earn the patch had to bring 4 garbage bags worth of items into the local Goodwill. They're those 13-gallon bags. If they brought 4 13-gallon bags in, they earned a Goodwill patch. They also went in and they calculated the number of bags turned in by each patrol, and they're going to get the same patch, but it's got a gold trim, and Goodwill is going to throw a pizza party for them. And then finally, they're going to have a top scout who brought in the most donations, and they're going to get the patch, but this one's going to have a silver lining. They'll participate in the pizza party, and they'll get a nice certificate and a photo op that we'll send off to the local newspapers and the council and all that. Turned out to be absolutely fantastic because we turned in almost 600 bags worth of donations in 2 weeks. And we even had one patrol approach. They didn't even come through me. They contacted the Goodwill contact and set up a store visit where they went to the local Goodwill store and they gave them a tour of the store and really explained what Goodwill is all about. And it was absolutely fantastic. We had an incredible time, and Goodwill just contacted me the other day, and I'll be heading on down to the council offices with them and try to show them how it worked in our troop and try to roll it out council-wide and get all the different councils in the all the different units in the Indianapolis, central Indiana area on board, and then just go from there. So between those two things, I've been doing a lot, and that's just those two things. So there's tons of other stuff that we do, but those are our two big items this past couple of weeks / months since we last recorded. So what have you guys been doing up there in the Great White North there, Shawn?
Listen, Scouters, you can't have a successful outdoor program without the right gear. That's where ALPS Mountaineering comes in. From tents to bags, backpacks, air pads, and camp furniture, ALPS Mountaineering has it all. Whether you're a brand new Cub Scout, an experienced Eagle Scout, or a Scoutmaster, ALPS offers the right gear at the right price. And with excellent construction and rugged durability, you can be sure you're buying gear that's built to last. Visit alpsmountaineering.com before your next camp out. And if you like what you've heard about ALPS, log on to scoutdirect.com for deals on ALPS gear that you can't afford to pass up. It might be a cold and rainy weekend, but thanks to ALPS, even a brand new Scout can be prepared.
let you go first, and I'll chime in a little bit because I went through in 2008, and you just went through this year. So, in a nutshell, Woodbadge is the top training that a scouter can go through outside of Philmont Training Center, I would guess, or some professional training. But as a volunteer, right? As a volunteer, the top adult training is Woodbadge, and it pretty much simulates joining as a Tiger and leaving as an Eagle Scout, and it puts you through the paces, and you learn a lot. You meet a lot of people. You learn some skills, and lots of Fortune 500 companies have audited this Woodbadge and turned it into their own. And lots of companies actually will give you scholarships or actually pay for your Woodbadge training because some of the skills you learn, a lot of the skills you learn in Woodbadge not only apply to scouting, but you can really take with you and improve your professional life as well. So let's start from the beginning. So you went to Woodbadge this summer, correct?
Yeah, I went this past summer. Gosh, it didn't even seem like summer. The first weekend for us, we do it in August and September. So the first weekend is summer. The second weekend is fall. And, you know, it's funny, the first weekend, sweating like a pig. You know, the first weekend was just, it was warm. It was 75, 80 degrees, and it was hot and dry and dusty. And the second weekend was 50s and rainy. I guess two of my favorite times to camp. I guess the only time that I don't like to camp is when it's in a hotel. Getting back to what we're really talking about and getting back to Gilwell, I didn't understand, how do I put it, all the rhetoric and all the stuff and some of the quotes and the Google Plus and the Twitter and the Facebook. And I used to be an Eagle and a good old Eagle too. And speaking of Eagles, there's something weird about this show also that, what is it?
We're both Eagles.
We're both Eagles.
Our critters are Eagles. Our Woodbadge critters are Eagles.
So I guess we were always destined to do Scout Nation.
I think so.
I think so. Anyways, getting back to it, I don't want to go into what I completely experienced because
here's the thing. You want it's like there's no secrets in the BSA, but some things are best left unknown so that you can fully appreciate and understand the entire experience.
Yes, and I would wholeheartedly agree, because if you go into it with a complete free and open mind, it's not like a cult. It's not like you're going to get brainwashed. But if you have a preconceived notion of what Woodbadge is going to be like, your experience may be altered to the point that, I don't know. We've all got our favorite movies. Let's just talk about the Harry Potter movies. If you go and you read the book before you see the movie, you know what's going to happen. If you go to IMDb and you read the spoiler alerts, you're going to know what happened. You're still going to enjoy the movie, but there's going to be those little parts that you're still going to know that happened. And it's kind of the same with Woodbadge. I will say that our patrol was varied, very, very diverse. The personalities there were, and still are, something to the point that I really can't put my finger on. It was just a group of guys that we just came together. And our personalities were so different. There was probably only 2 of us that got along really super well, but the rest of us just put up with each other's little quirkinesses and things like that. It's not putting up with, but you don't have a choice who you're in a patrol with.
Which is simulating the fact that many of our scouts who cross over, they don't have a choice on when they join our troop or when they join their den. They don't have a choice on who they go with. They might have 1 or 2 friends, 1 or 2 familiar faces, but it's a group dynamic. You're thrown in a group, and you've got to learn each other's strengths or each other's weaknesses and your quirkiness. But in the end, you have to work together as a team. You have to come together. There are elements during the program. Down here, we do 2 3-day weekends. And that's how you did it, I believe.
That's how we did it too.
I think that's how most of the Woodbadge for the 21st century does it now. They used to do it for 1 6-day week, and now they split it up into 2 3-day weekends. And during those 2 weekends, you really have to work together as a team. You really have to work together as a patrol. And it teaches you a lot about yourself. It teaches you a lot about the people you're stuck with, but it also teaches you how to relate to others of different everything, different ethnic backgrounds, different diets, different shapes and sizes, and different attitudes about scouting. Not everybody is happy-go-lucky and pro scout led. There's a lot of gosses out there. There's a lot of this is the way that we do it, and I'm the drill instructor, and you get all shapes and sizes, and you gotta learn how to deal with it.
And you do that through. Everybody will hear this, and maybe you haven't, but it's, I guess it's a Woodbadge thing. It's the forming, storming, norming, performing, where you get in a group and you start forming ideas, and then pretty soon you're fighting or infighting. Norming means you're starting to do pretty well, and by performing, your foot's on the gas and you're kicking butt and taking names later. And I'll say this, that we came together. We did forming and storming in the first day. Our storming was at full throttle. The storming was at its peak at Saturday night. We formed right away, and we stormed for most of the day Friday through the night and all day Saturday, and we stormed. And Sunday morning we woke up and we were norming. By the end of Sunday we were performing. When we came back for the second weekend for day 4, we hit the ground running, and we pounded through it the whole weekend. And I am throwing my shoulder out right now, patting myself on the back, and I'll pat the rest of the guys on my patrol on the back that hard to say that we kicked ass. And it was noticed by a lot of staffers, and a lot of people had different thoughts and different ideas on, me. And that's what Woodbadge is really about. It's not about you being a better Scoutmaster. It's about you being a better person. It's not about you being a better unit commissioner. It's about you being a better person. It's not about you being a better Cupmaster. It's about you being a better person. And you figure that out through a series of tickets. And I had the same misconceptions about Woodbadge, thinking, I know this stuff already. I already know everything there is to know about scouting. If I don't, I have the resources on my phone, on my laptop that I can do this. All those resources, all the scout books in the world you want are not going to help you with Woodbadge. You put in, you listen, and you listen more. Then you cry, and then you take it out and you go, wow, my life is definitely different. We talk about the ticket. And the ticket is really secondary. Everybody sweats the ticket. They worry so much. I'm never going to complete my ticket. I'm never going to get it done. But it's an elephant, man. You just got to eat it one bite at a time. My ticket is something that I know when I finish it, I'm going to be proud of. It's not just a checkbox. It's not just a line through it to say I got that one done. My tickets, my ticket items are things that mean something to me. And I'll tell you what, my SPL did not take it easy on me when I put my ticket together. He challenged me, and I came back with the challenge, and he challenged me more, and I met that challenge. And then he challenged me again, and I came back with it, and he said, this is what I want from you. Now understand, I'm going to go back into a story, and I don't want it to get all goss, but my senior patrol leader is from Woodbadge, is the Boy Scout Roundtable Commissioner, and he was a part of that group of scouters that I had the fallout with a few years ago, and he had a different opinion of me. His name was Roy, and Roy is awesome. I've always respected Roy, but there were some things that he said to me on Saturday about I'm going to be upfront honest with you and tell you the way it is. And I said, that's the way I prefer it. And so a little while later, he took me aside when we were discussing some ticket items, and he said, look, I'll tell you this right now. In the last month, my opinion of you has changed 100%. He said, I've done a 180 in how I think about you and what I've thought about you, and I feel bad for how I thought about you. And that was kind of the end of the night, and went back to the campsite, and I sat and thought about that all night, Well, Sunday morning I got up, and we had, day 6 was patrol leader day, and I was patrol leader for day 6, and we had our patrol leader council meeting, and we got done, and everybody left, and Roy was still standing there talking with the course director, Warren, and I walked up to Roy, and I said, Roy, I really thought about what you said to me last night about being honest and what's your opinion of me. Well, then my eyes started to sweat, and his eyes started to sweat, and he put his hand out, and then I put my hand out, and then we just hugged, and Warren was all like, slapping us both on the back, and he goes, you've come a long way. Just keep it up. Have faith. So it was that morning. So 2 hours later, the scout executive was there giving his story, and I went up to him and I said, Mark, I had this different opinion of you. I thought that, you were a stiff shirt, and we'd never see you get your hands dirty. And I'll say that I don't think that in any way, shape, or form. And he looked at me and he said, this is where I want to be. He said, I want to be doing this. I don't want to be in the office. I don't want to have my shirt pressed. I don't want to have my shoes shiny. I want to be out in the field doing this stuff. And he looked at me and he said, and I can't believe you're here. All the crap that you've been through and all the things that have happened between you and us and the district and everything, I can't believe you're here. But I can see that you're a better person for it. I am damn glad that you're here. Thanks a lot. And he threw his hand out and shook my hand. Then my eyes started sweating again. So we went through our last meal, and later on that night when you're saying the goodbyes and everything, then Roy came up, we went around the circle, and Roy came up to me, and unfortunately we had to do our Gilwell field inside because of torrential downpours, and Roy got to me, and he just said, you're just like another son, and he grabbed me and hugged me, and then, then the eyes really started leaking. So, it was just a total experience of shedding years of built-up anger and frustrations and everything. And I came home, and do you remember that movie City Slickers with Billy Crystal?
Oh, yeah.
And at the beginning, he was always frowning, and at the end, he came home, and his wife said, something's different. He's like, look, I found my smile. That's basically what I came home to my wife. And
see, that's absolutely awesome, and that's what Woodbadge is all about. There will be, you'll have your old Woodbadge versus new Woodbadge, because Woodbadge changed in 2001 and used to be different back in the day, and you're going to be taught a lot of different skills, and people think that they're, the Sigma 6 or what is Six Sigma, whatever that is, or management skills, and it's not really scouting skills. But you're going to learn about your 4 stages of team development like you were talking about. You're going to learn about the EDGE method of leadership and the EDGE of teaching, the explain, demonstrate, guide, and enable. You're going to learn about diversity and SMART goals and setting goals for yourself, and active communication and active listening, and how to communicate properly, and better ways to communicate, and all sorts of just life skills. But in between that are those moments, because you just heard Shawn's experience with Woodbadge. Didn't sound like he was sitting down taking notes in a textbook. You don't get sweaty eyes from talking about diversity in scouting for 40 minutes. You don't walk up to somebody that you've had a disagreement with for years and hug them and call them a son when you're learning about how to set SMART goals. You do all that, but there's also all the in-between time. There's the fellowship. There's the looking inside yourself and seeing, why am I here? Why am I doing this? And then noticing that pain in the butt guy that you see at round table every month, that is that old codger by the book person. He's sitting right next to you, and you're there for the same reason. And his style might be different from your style. There is no right style, but there is a right reason to be there. And everybody who's at Woodbadge is usually there for the right reason. And there's a lot of fun. There is a lot of fun. When we went there, my patrol, Eagle Patrol, we gelled very quickly, and unlike it sounds like Shawn's Eagle Patrol, we just got along from the start. Right from the start, we got along. We were the overachievers. We always went the extra mile. We stood out. We stood out for the staff. We were just those guys, those annoying guys that raise up their hand and say, "Teacher, you forgot to give us our homework today." That was us.
Oh no, we were that guy. We were those guys too.
That was us. We didn't know each other. I didn't know anybody. We were all, and what you'll find in most Woodbadge courses is you're grouped by location, because you will be meeting outside of the 2 weekends. So generally, you're usually grouped by location, and I was by myself. Another assistant scoutmaster, I was an assistant scoutmaster at the time, was by himself. 2 other scouters, both in Cubs with their sons getting ready to cross over. They were there, and then there was 3 from another town to the west of us, a husband-wife team and someone who was on their committee, and that was our patrol. But we just got along so well and worked together, and really the bottom line with Woodbadge from a participant point of view, and I know it might sound a little hokey or corny, but bottom line of Woodbadge, drink the Kool-Aid. Drink the Kool-Aid and go have fun. That's the thing. We're a kid organization. You'll never hear me call my scouts kids, but we're a kid organization. We've got very good, lofty values and goals and an incredible vision, but we're a kid organization. Scouting is a game with a purpose, said Baden Powell, and as a scouter, we have to play. And if you're going to Woodbadge, you're really giving of yourself and dedicating to this incredible movement. However, you got to get your kid on. You got to just drink the Kool-Aid and have fun. One of the nights on the second weekend, myself and two of my fellow patrol mates, we were just took a night hike. We went, we took showers, and then we're like, let's walk around. And right next to the shower house was this huge open field. And the camp that we go to, we've all been there before with our troops, and it's just a beautiful camp for stargazing. And one of the guys, who is now an incredibly good friend of mine, said, "Oh, he's a naturalist. He works for a company that designs bird feeders and bird food, and walking in the woods with him is like walking in the woods with Dan Beard. I mean, the guy is just a woodsman and an amateur astronomer, and he can tell you the 15 different birds in the area just by listening for 15 seconds. And so we're laying down. We go out into the middle of this field, and we're looking up, and then finally we're like, forget this, and we're laying down, and we're looking up at the stars, and we're talking about this constellation and that constellation and this star, and when I was a kid and I used to go camping, and my dad used to do this, and we used to go, and my dad loved the moon landings, and he used to talk about them all the time, and we always want, and then it's 1 o'clock, and then it's 1:15, and it's 1:30. And every once in a while, somebody would walk past the shower house and light, and it had motion detector lights, and it would set the light off. And we'd scream, "Stop moving, stop moving." And they're like, "Who's out there?" And it's like, "Oh, it's us." "What are you doing?" "We're looking at the stars." "Oh, can I join you?" It's like, "Yeah, sure." Pretty soon, it's almost 1:30 in the morning, 1:45. There's a couple of dozen of us out there sitting in the dark, laying on our back, looking at the stars, and just talking. People who had never known each other before, people from all walks of life. We had one thing in common. We all went to Woodbadge, and we all wanted to make ourselves complete, I guess, as it were, in our scout training, to make sure that we were bringing back to our scouts the best product we could by making sure we were fully trained. And that's Woodbadge.
Yeah. And, your story of coming together for the night hike, and I just kind of wanted to go into one of my stories about coming together this past weekend, and I had thrown up on Google Plus about Cub Scout College, which is, we have separate all-day trainings for Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts. Some units or some councils have joint where it's all adult leaders. In my council, it's separated. And one of my ticket items was to write a course, and the course that I wrote was called Socially Scouting, and it talks about being social on the internet and scouting together. That was one of my ticket items. So I actually got a ticket item done this weekend.
That's awesome.
Yeah, which I didn't really, that's not the whole point of that I wanted to get this thing done, but I got it done. Regardless of getting that ticket item done, it was amazing. I walked in, and the cool part was I started actually working on the second part of my ticket, and I was just hanging out with my wife more often and doing more husband-wife things. I've been in scouting for 8 years. I've gone to every Cub Scout college for the last 8 years, except last year. This was the first time that my wife and I actually drove down, just me and her, in our car, and talked on the way down there, kissed each other goodbye. You go to class, I'm going to class, saw her at lunch, and then she went to her classes for the rest of the day, and then I met back up at 4 o'clock, and then we talked on the way home. That's something that we haven't had a chance to do. So that's part of working another part of my ticket, which is being a better husband. So I got my getting social part done, and that's the socially scouting. While I was there, and I'm sorry, you were going to say something.
Well, I was just gonna talk about the generality. I don't know what that word is, but generally what the tickets are. Because I remember when we went through staff, nobody really talked about tickets. You talk to the staff, and the staff really never talked to you about what their tickets were, just that they did them.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it wasn't something that you wanted to stick in somebody's head that your ticket had to be this or your ticket had to be that, or, oh, this is a good ticket, I'm going to kind of, copy that and do that. Because we were on staff, the big thing was that the ticket is your ego project, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What it is and why it's important to you is just that. It's for you. The ticket is pretty much, if you're an active scouter right now, you are completing tickets every day. You're completing tickets every week. You're completing tickets every month. But the big thing about the ticket is that it's the benefit scouting based on your position, and it's personal to you. And your troop guide or your SPL or whomever is there, your ticket counselor, can help you get there, but the work is all you, like you said. You kept on bringing it back, and your SPL knew what you needed to do, but he never handed it to you. You have to come to the realization of, aha, that's what it's supposed to be. That's what my ticket is.
That's where I was kind of in a different position, because I was telling you about Roy and making me cry, and he was the SPL, but Roy's also my ticket counselor. So he wanted me to challenge myself. And talking about the ticket, I think that with my ticket, I challenged myself because I've already gotten some feedback from a couple other the Woodbadge attendants from my section that have said they've already got 3 ticket items done. And I'm thinking, we've only been done with the course for 5.5 weeks. And how did you get all these items done? And Roy, my ticket counselor, really didn't want me to have what he called checkbox items. Don't go out on 6 dates with your wife. What are you going to do to make your relationship with your wife better? And he suggested a couple things that I will take. But all these suggestions are going to work for me and may not work for anybody else. And that is probably one of the hardest things about the Woodbadge ticket is the anxiety behind it. But then the people who haven't experienced it yet are thinking, I need your ideas. How am I going to do this? What am I going to do? And it's really not going to help you, because the whole experience is going to hit you so differently that you may go in thinking, these are going to be my 5 ticket items, and you're going to walk out with 5 completely different items. That's what happened to me. And there's nothing else I can say. I had my mindset of what I was going to go in with, and I came out with a completely different set of ticket items. So when I see, people asking, well, what do you do and what should you do? And I'm going and now I need help with this. Right. It's really hard to tell you, because you're going to get out what you put in, and your end product is going to help you mold yourself. And those molding yourself is going to happen by using those 5 ticket items to make yourself a better person, that's going to turn you into a better leader. And every one of the Woodbadgers that were with me, they all have different things that they did and that they worked on. But the really neat thing for me was to see how the Cub Scout college director at Cub Scout College that I was teaching at this week was a staff member at Woodbadge. And he asked for some help at Woodbadge. If you know anything, if you want to give me a hand, great. If not, the turnout from our section was phenomenal. He had 60 staffers for the Cub Scout College. 20 to 25 of them were guys from my Woodbadge section.
Wow.
It was people who were helping at the doors to give directions. There was one helping the council office do camp registrations, instructors, support staff, and everybody except for me was wearing their neckerchief. I didn't grab mine that morning, but it was awesome, and it was just so great to see them. And it wasn't, hey, how you doing? It's you walk up and, hey, Shauna, how are you? And you give her a hug. hey, Kim, and you give her a hug. And, you know, the handshake is not just a little limp wrist. It's, you know, as you smack that hand in there and you grab on tight and, hey, buddy, how you doing? It's a shoulder slapping. But the really cool thing was we had 8 patrols at Woodbadge, and all 8 of our projects were on display at Cub Scout College. It was phenomenal to walk in there and just to look at it again and get kind of misty-eyed and just see it all. And people would come in and be like, oh, what is this? Oh, these are cool. So Scouts did this? And we're like, no, man, Wood Badgers did this. What's Woodbadge? I'm so glad you asked. You got 5 minutes? And you pound them, and I did that in all my classes too. It was hands down, bar none. It was the best $225 that I've ever spent on myself.
Mm-hmm.
Ever. And people just looked at me and I said, I don't say that about much, but I can tell you that with any degree of certainty, it was the best $225 that I spent. So, you know, I know where I want to go with it. I'm hoping that I complete my ticket. I'm getting everything, and I really want to get back to Gilwell, and I want to teach. I want to be on staff. That's one of my items, and that's where I want to go. I want to get on staff because I want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of somebody's magic.
Well, that's once you finish your ticket. I was fortunate enough to get the phone call back in 2010 to come to staff, and I quickly said yes. And one of my fellow patrol mates was there as well, and being on staff was much better than going through course. And when anybody talks to me about Woodbadge, I always tell them that going through course changed my life. So if the course changed my life, you can imagine what being on staff is like. Usually most new staffers are troop guides, so you get to do for another patrol what your guide did for you. I learned so much more. It's funny. I mean, I taught several of the discussions that you sit through during course, and in teaching it, you learn so much more, and you find yourself, you know, you have the opportunity to go into the back room and just, you know, unbutton the shirt and sit down and take a nap and relax, because, you know, preparing for staff is very difficult. It's, you know, course is 2-3 day weekends. Preparing to staff a course is several months worth of work. It's a lot of work. So when you finally get to course, you're already exhausted, and that first day of course is just like running a marathon. So when it comes time to sit and, you know, maybe watch a movie or do something that's going to take a big chunk of time with course, those not involved, it's real easy to just slink off somewhere and maybe take a quick nap or catch up on some paperwork, or, you know, make a phone call home if you can. But that first time, and I wasn't alone, we were sitting there going through course again, watching all the different presentations by all the different staff members that we've grown to know and love. I mean, I've made lifelong friends going through course, and some of the people I went through course with were on staff with me, and those friendships got even deeper. And the friendships that I made during staff were even deeper than the ones I made going through course, if that makes sense. I mean, I just enjoyed going through staff so much. I can't wait. I got asked last year, and I couldn't do it. I had a little thing called graduation. I had a scout going for Eagle and leaving home. So they asked me, we do 2 courses here in central Indiana. They asked me to do the spring course, and I looked at the dates, and it was right on our graduation weekend, and I didn't think the wife would appreciate that, so I had to say no. So they're, all right, can you do the fall course? I looked at the fall course, and of course, the fall course weekend fell on the weekend that we left for college and was dropping my son off at school for the first time. So I had to say no to both. But I'll probably be getting a phone call. I was talking to somebody just today, as a matter of fact. Probably getting a phone call soon for 2012, doing our fall course. So it's just an incredible, incredible experience. Woodbadge all around. If you have not gone to Woodbadge yet, you have to go to Woodbadge. And if you
Yes.
and if you've gone to Woodbadge and you've earned your beads and you're just sitting around, contact your council office. Contact your local council office and say, listen, I want to give back. I would like to serve on staff. You know, it's just like anything else in life. They may call you, they may not call you, they may pick you, or they'll say thanks but no thanks. But put yourself out there. I don't want – it's funny because some people think as Woodbadgers as elitists, but it's not so much as they're elitists. It's just the fact that you spend such an intense time together. The time that you spend together while short is extremely intense, whether it's going through course for the first time or going through staff. You really open yourself up, and you really do become a family with these people. And when you do that, and then it's over. 2 3-day weekends, and it's over.
It's over. And they are, step on the gas 3-day weekends, but, 7 o'clock Friday morning till 6 o'clock Sunday night, you're pounding. But all of a sudden, it's 5:30, and you realize that you're
on your way home. But it's been such an intense time with those people. You really feel like you know those people, and you really do. And it's not so much as that when I get together and I walk into a room and I see people from Woodbadge, it's not so much as that I'm being snobby and elitist saying, oh, you don't have your beads, so I'm not going to talk to you. Mm-hmm. It's like walking in and seeing your cousin or your aunt or your uncle who you haven't seen in a couple of months and saying, oh, my God, how are you? I haven't seen you in such a long time. And you just get to talking.
It's humbling.
And you just get to talking because you want to spend time with these people. You want to, again, rekindle that friendship that you made, rekindle that connection. So please, if you haven't gone through Woodbadge, go through Woodbadge. But yet if you haven't gone through Woodbadge, don't think we're snubbing you. We just love talking to each other and getting together with each other because we do it so rarely. So if you do see us going all bundled up in a bunch, don't walk the other way. Come on over and say, hey, you guys are all on Woodbadge. I was thinking of maybe doing that one day. And you'll get an earful, and by the end, they'll probably already have a brochure in your hand and a sign-up sheet as well.
Yeah, don't let cost stand in your way. If you have to say to yourself, especially when it comes to Woodbadge, say to yourself, is this something that I would attend if money weren't a problem or money weren't an issue? I understand folks that sometimes never worry about the money because, I said it's the best $225 that I spent. Woodbadge courses range in price, but it's pennies. I mean, pennies to,
well, the thing is,
it's the most fun you can have with your clothes on.
The thing is that don't worry about money. If you want to go to Woodbadge, you'll get to Woodbadge.
You'll get to Woodbadge.
Many councils have scholarships.
Your units. Your units might kick you some dough if you're going to say, hey, you know what, I'm going to Woodbadge.
Yes. Units can help out. Districts can help out. Councils can help out. Many areas or regions actually have Woodbadge associations. And the Woodbadge associations, I know we have a scholarship dinner every year.
We have one this year.
And our scholarship
weekend, actually.
Right. So if you don't even worry about money, don't even let it become an issue. Just find find out when your local Woodbadge course is for 2012, and get on there right away. There's tons of stuff. We could talk for another hour or so about the program, and then I could talk for another hour about what it's like being on the other end of being on staff. Bottom line, get to it. Do it. Work your ticket. Earn your beads. Wear your necker. And then turn right around and give back. Every scout deserves a trained leader. That next trained leader should be you.
That's 100%. And one thing I wanted to touch base on again, and kind of getting back to it, was another one of my ticket items was, I call it Skinny Scoutmaster, and that was to get, not only lose weight, lower my BMI, but just to get fit. And on that topic, the Scout Nation Fit Club, we've kind of fallen back on that, and it kind of really ramped down. And I think our lack of shows and things like that may have definitely hurt us a little bit. But in the same sense, we need to talk a little bit about Scout Nation Fit Club and what it's done for a really good friend of ours who still has the name of Scouter Jeff, even though he's not really in the program anymore. I hear that he might be getting lured back in. But did you see on Google Plus? Did you see that?
I have already exchanged several emails with him between Scout Nation Fit Club and the Scout Strong program by the BSA. What a difference! I'm actually very jealous, and I emailed him, and we've exchanged a couple of emails and talked about it. And I'm looking at one of the emails right now. November 1st was when we exchanged one email where I said that I am in dire need of whatever you are taking.
And what his mantra in that, 101 pounds in 6 months.
101 pounds, 6 months.
And he said, if me, or how do you word that? And I'm a bacon-loving, ranch dressing on everything type of guy, and if I can do it, you can do it.
Exactly.
I mean, that's just phenomenal stuff. And Jeff, you got some Scout Nation Fit Club stuff coming, because hands down, brother, you win.
Yeah, heck yeah.
You know, he wins, and not only does he win, but he wins for all of us, because we threw a challenge out 6 months ago, and a lot of us stuck with it. Some of us didn't. Some of us are just doing it our own way, and he stuck it out. But the thing is, he's not quitting. He's not going back to, deep fried Snickers bars rolled in bacon and ranch dressing. He's sticking with, the stuff that works for him. And that's somebody who I look up to and I want to stick with.
Well, I emailed him, and we had a serious talk, because for me, I need to lose 100 pounds easy. I want to do it. And he sent me, and this will be in a whole other podcast, but he sent me a 7-step program in what he is doing. He just told me, this is what I'm doing, and he listed them all out, 1 through 7, and we talked about some other stuff, and setting goals and exercise and all that jazz. But bottom line, it's something that I've known for years and never really applied, or I have applied and then I lose interest. The thing is, you're not dieting. You are creating an entirely new lifestyle. You can't say I'm going on and I've tried them all. You can't say, oh, I'm going on the cabbage soup diet. My God, I did that and I lost 40 pounds and I was just miserable, because no one can eat cabbage soup 3 meals a day. But yet I did it. I did it for several months, and my house stunk like cabbage. I stunk like cabbage. And to be honest with you, to this day now, I really can't eat coleslaw without gagging a little. But the diet and the fad ends, and then when you are faced with real food choices again, you set yourself up for failure. Because if we go to a place and they don't have cabbage soup, then what the heck am I going to eat?
Yeah.
And one of Jeff's big things was, it's not a diet, it's a complete lifestyle change. And this is what you need to do if you want to be successful. You've got to make a change in your life. And that's what he did.
I think that Jeff listens to us. I know he listens to us. And I think Jeff needs to put his secrets out somewhere for us, whether it's on G Plus or Twitter, or create a Google Doc or something. You know, I'd like to see those 7 steps myself. I think we all can take inspiration from Jeff in doing the things that we all want to do and drop a couple pounds. And, you know, once again, it's kind of like Woodbadge. It's not doing it so that you can be a better leader. You're not losing the weight to be a better leader. You're doing it to make a change in your life and do the things that maybe you couldn't do before. I think, what did Jeff say, that he was going to start running? He's been running for 3 weeks, something he couldn't even fathom doing for 6 months before that.
Yep.
You know, those are the things that we all strive to do, and we're all just trying to be better people, to be better scouters. So I really don't know where else to go to it other than the committee chair for PAC 4363 is kind of tapping her foot and tapping her watch, saying that it's time for me to go to bed. And
Is
we're
it
supposed
that
to be
time
done.
already?
It is, because she's getting a little antsy.
The meeting after the meeting is coming to a close.
Yeah, and since it's not ice cream anymore, it's, you know, really nothing after dinner. I gotta go. But guess what? You can find me on Twitter. I don't hang out there as much as I used to. SM_Shawn. Google Plus, which is like my favorite home to be at, and that's Shawn.Cleary. Skype, you can find me there once in a while. Facebook, and my newest one, Foursquare. And find me on ptcmedia.net, scoutnation.wordpress.com. Am I missing anything, Brian?
I think you hit everything up.
Outstanding. What about you?
Well, you can follow me on Twitter and Google Plus. I am all over Google Plus. There's about 75 strong Scout Nation on Google Plus. Just search my name, BryanSpellman, at either Google Plus or Twitter, and I will find you there. Of course, you can drop me a line at scoutmaster@troop199.org. So please give us a call. Please contact us. Please email us. Please send us some feedback. We'd love to hear from you. Watch our Twitter/Google Plus feeds for another Scout Nation chat. And I think we're trying to work on getting our first ever Google Plus Hangout. If you're on Google Plus, you know what a Hangout is. We've tested a couple. I know Shawn used one for his social class the other day and had a scouter from England on, which was kind of cool. And we figured out a way to record Hangouts. So maybe we might have and record a Scout Nation Hangout and then just kind of throw it on the feed or stick it on YouTube and just put it on out there. So for Scoutmaster Shawn, I'm Scoutmaster Bryan. Thank you so much for listening to us. Keep up the good work and keep fighting that good fight in your corner of Scout Nation. Good night.
Good night.
This show was sponsored by ALPS Mountaineering, offering you the right gear at the right price.